Back to one of our top stories now. President Jacob Zuma has come under fire for comments he made about eTolls last night. Let's get some response from Presidential Spokesperson Maharaj, who joins us now on the line. Mr. Maharaj, afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So the comments which are attributed to the President last night, we can't think like Africans in Africa generally. What does that mean?
No, the President was not trying to be derogatory or demeaning to anybody. He was making the simple point that the Gauteng freeway has a greater significance than just for the local area. It is part of the heartbeat of our economy, and it is critical to the process of the integration of the Southern African economy. When you look at other roads, they are important for example, in a rural area. They have importance for the local economy, but they do not have that central place. And therefore, he was appealing to people to look in turn this problem from a global perspective and the national economy's needs.
But let's go back to what he actually said. We can't think like Africans in Africa generally. We're in Johannesburg. This is Johannesburg. It's not some national road in Malawi. Why would he use those words?
Well, I think that I have other words also that he added. The President has made the example that it's not fair to expect Gauteng roads to be compared with roads in other towns, and I quote, such as Pietermaritzburg, Rustenburg, Polokwane, and any other town or national road in Malawi, as this was Gauteng, the heartbeat of South Africa's economy and the international city of commerce and business. That's the context of those remarks.
Mm-hmm.
To the extent that it has been perceived as demeaning or derogatory, I want to make it clear that there was no intention to be derogatory or demeaning to anybody. South Africa works.
Is the President then withdrawing that remark?
The President is saying we work very closely with all the states, including Malawi and Southern Africa Development Corporation, towards the program of integration of our economies. We are working very closely with all the states in Africa under the AU.
Mr. Maharaj, if you are saying that the presidency or you yourself understand that may have been perceived as derogatory, is he withdrawing that remark?
We are making it very clear that there is no intention and it is not meant in a derogatory way. We regard Malawi as a very important and player in the Southern African economy. It is an equal player with all the 15 Southern African Development Corporation community nations.
But you accept, Mr. Maharaj, the impact that it's had, that it was indeed perceived to mean that. Do you now withdraw that?
Let me make it very clear. Last night there were more than 1,000 people in the Wits Great Hall. No one took umbrage. In fact, the concept that this is derogatory has arisen subsequently and this morning in some of the media. Mm-hmm. In fact, there were students who got up and challenged President Zuma on other aspects of his presentation. And there was a free-for-all discussion. There were moments of lightheartedness, but nobody took umbrage and did not see it as a derogatory remark.
Mr. Maharaj, I'm going to go back to that statement. We can't think like Africans. South Africans are Africans. Why would President Zuma say that?
He was making it in the context of localized thinking. It's trying to say, do not think in the significance purely from a local area. Look at it from the interest and the global eyes. And Africans do look at it also from a global eyes, but there are no doubt people who do not look at it and are fixated on their local economies.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Maharaj, there often seems to be a discord between what President Zuma says and how the public then receives or interprets that. Why is there such a breakdown?
I don't think the word often is correct.
No, I think that word is accurate, Mr. Maharaj. It's often that you have to come and explain what Mr. Zuma meant. It happens often.
And I made the statement. I don't think it's correct to say often. President Zuma has been speaking every day. Just about every day he makes a speech. Mm-hmm. And the comments that are taken and made an issue with are not often issues. Now, you are entitled to your view, Nikita, but I think objectively, from the number of speeches that he makes every year, you are wrong to say often.
Mr. Maharaj, let me quote some examples for you then when he was speaking at his daughter's wedding, when he made comments about single women. Let me go back. No, let's deal with this, Mr. Maharaj. There's one example when he made comments about gay people. You then had to come back and say he was quoted out of context. The question I'm asking, Mr. Maharaj, why is there often a breakdown between what he says and what is then received? Why?
You are continuing to use often with singular examples. Okay. And I'm saying to you, Obviously, we know that the president speaks most fluently in his home language. We know that. Now, when he speaks in English, there may be sometimes a disjunct, and people hear him also with a disjunct.
Was this
don't make the mistake of thinking every reporter there.
Mr. Maharaj?
Nobody take umbrage in the hall. Out of 1,000 academics.
Mr. Maharaj,
nobody took exception.
Mr. Maharaj, was this one of those times where there was then a disjunct, as you say, when it comes to language?
I believe that this morning, some sections of the media took the thing and blew it out of proportion.
No, but
I think that the context I've given to you is clear, and the notes of the meeting, including the prepared speech, are very clear.
But
he was saying, look at the national significance of this road to the national economy.
But he did say we can't think like Africans in Africa, which then can easily be read that we in Johannesburg are not Africans and fueling this Afro-pessimism.
I think you are wrong to make it blown out of proportion. I think that is the way one would hang on to little issues and ignore the larger context. But be that as it may, to the extent that it is perceived by anybody, I'm saying there was no intention and nobody took umbrage out of the 1,000 that were at the meeting. You
say no one took umbrage, but you felt the need to issue this statement correcting what wasn't.
Because this morning some media began to make a big issue of it.
Ms. Maharaj, will leave it there.
And my statement says there, we have noted certain media.
Thanks for.
And we've corrected that.
Thank you for your time this afternoon. Presidential Spokesperson Maharaj talking to us about the President's comments.
News that moves. eNCA.com.